Good morning, or I guess I should say good afternoon. Hello, everyone. I hope this is steady. I couldn't get a tripod to work today, so I'm just going to have to hold this in my hand. Hi, Lila. Well, I watch a lot of scopes while I'm loading the dishwasher. And laundry and cooking. Hi, my name is Deshelle, and I'm the homeschool mom of 3. And actually, I only homeschool 2 of them. My oldest is he's doing dual enrollment at the local college and goes to a local school. But my daughters are 10 and 7. And I was just going to talk a little bit about what we do in our homeschool. Using the Brave Scopes Challenge for week 2, history in our homeschool. And we have kind of been all over the place. But what I do the most is probably field trips. And so I do everything revolving around where I want to go and what I want to do. So we put the history around our lives, sort of. So last year, we wanted to go to Italy. That was my big dream, and it kept getting messed up with pregnancies. And so last year was my 20th anniversary, and I said, yes, brilliant. So I get to do what I want and call it school. And so I want to go to Italy, and so that was our plan. So we studied about Roman history all last year. So yeah, that's the plan. So we started with, I didn't really know what I was doing last year. We were homeschooling for the first time. Oh yes, Yellowstone. I really want to get to that. I just got to convince my husband to get all the way over to Yellowstone without flying, because he hates to fly. And so we wanted to do some fun things with Roman history. So we started with Simply Charlotte Mason. And I put this, I'll show this. I put the website here if anybody is interested in that, simplycharlottemason.com. And because we really like the Charlotte Mason method, I didn't know really where to start. So, hi Karen. I think it's Karen. And so we started here. And I got her book. And she uses a system where she puts Bible and history together. And so we started with this one, Matthew through Acts and Ancient Rome, really honestly because I just wanted to go to Italy. And so that's how it all got started. And I used it pretty strictly last year. This year, I'll tell you about this year. I've kind of changed it around a little bit, but I'll show you a little bit what she does in here. You'll see like lesson 24. And she's going to have some Bible, and then she's going to have Visits to Europe, which Visits to Europe is basically map study, and some readings like from Hungry Planet, Material World, which you may have heard of. And then she'll go on some reading from the Story of the Romans, which is one of the books she uses, and also she has some read-alouds that go with that. And then she also has her scriptures in there, and also... see, there was one other thing we did, but I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But anyway, the History of the Romans, I have that one here. This is a book that I believe was first published in 1896, so it's kind of old. And so the writing is a little difficult, so when I was reading it aloud, a lot of times I had to change some of the wording just because my children wouldn't understand a 100-year-old way of talking, or over 100 years old way of talking. And so it was a good, like a binders to start with. And then she had some great read-alouds, some of our favorites, if you're going to study any Roman history, Detectives in Togas and Mystery of the Roman Ransom. These are both by Henry Winterfield, and these are really good. The girls love these. We did these read-alouds, Mystery of the Roman Ransom and Detective in Togas. One of them is a sequel. I can't remember off the top of my head which one's which. Those were great. And also Red Cells to Capri. We did that in there. And also, when we got done with the Story of the Romans, we went into City. Now, this is a really interesting book because it's not really your typical history book. It has, I don't know if I can find a good picture of it, but it tells about how the city was actually constructed, which is actually fascinating when you go through and discover that all the things that the Romans could do that somehow was lost in history. It's kind of amazing with their indoor plumbing and how they use the aqueducts and just all the different things they use. They show how the houses were built. the reason why this empire was such an empire is because it had some amazing abilities for infrastructure. And they had sewers and just all sorts of things like that. So this is a really interesting book. Not so much a history book. I mean, it is, but it just tells about how the cities were designed and laid out. And that's really why Rome lasted as long. Oh, really? That would be great. That would be neat. Yeah, so this was a really interesting book, and we used this one after we finished Story of the Romans, or kind of sort of in the middle of it. Now, my oldest, he was homeschooling then. Yeah, they're probably a little bit older. He used Augustus Caesar's World, and I found this one really interesting, but it was probably above my girl's head, so he read this one last year in his world history, and it just has shorter stories about the different things in history, in the Roman history. But it was a good book, and I actually recommend this one because I liked it, and I like the author. She was much more interesting than the Story of the Romans. She also requested to put these in. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Simply Charlotte Mason. From the days of ancient Rome, the stuff they left behind. And it's really just pictures and posters of different things that you could see in museums, which was kind of cool because we looked at all these before we actually went to the museums and places and saw them. Another book she uses with it is Hungry Planet, and it's just more of a modern day. It's not very modern. I want to say maybe the last 20 years. And she also uses Material World, which I couldn't find. And those are interesting books, a little outdated, maybe 20 or 30 years ago, but they're interesting in how, we really liked it because it showed how people ate food that was similar and how it was very different. And so it's kind of an interesting book. Material World is really interesting because it shows the books in the book, the different cultures and what they thought. You know, these are all fairly middle class people that they're picking out and showing what they have, and it's really amazing compared to what we have. Here's another one of the books, The Roman Colosseum, which if you ever go to Italy, you have to go here. This is probably the coolest thing ever. Even my son, who did not want to go to Italy for some strange reason, loved the Colosseum. And if you do it, you have to go on the underground tour. You can't do the regular tour because you have to go underground into the very top, because that's the really cool part. Best part of Rome. Yeah. And then while we were there, since we were studying all this and we were going to go to all the wonderful museums, we studied some of the authors. And I like these books by Mike Venezia, I guess how I pronounce it. He writes these books about the different artists. I'm sure you guys have seen these, but they're just really interesting, and they're written in a way that the kids can understand them. So we had that one on several of the Da Vinci, Botticelli, different ones. And then we also have Diane Stanley. I liked hers too. Michelangelo is it's a good read too. Not quite as fun and easy as the Mike Venezia ones are, but it was still a good book too. So, and then we finished up by going to actually Italy and seeing all these places. So I just want to show you that because that was what we did last year. Now this year, I'll show you this stack. I wanted to study American history and go to places in the U.S., so I had to work my system around that too. And Simply Charlotte Mason does not put American history with what I wanted to study in our biblical history, so I had to kind of wing it with that. So what I got was the Stories of America, which you can see at the top, Simply Charlotte Mason. Now this is also a kind of a little bit of a retooling of a 100-year-old writing too, but it's still, I can read it and change some of the wording. There's only a few things that I wouldn't, that I had to change a little bit. They call the Native Americans Indians a lot and white people, and so I just changed that to be a little more politically correct so my kids didn't go out and say some of these things. And also, some of the stories were a little more whitewashed, and they're short stories, but we, oh great, but we use this kind of as our starting point, and we go from there. And we also use, I don't know if you've used these before. This is American Adventures in Odyssey, and this is the one on American history. And these are actually CDs. So the girls will listen to a CD. They usually last a story 30 minutes. I believe they watched Paul Revere. or listen to, not watch, listen to Paul Revere the other day, and I think they had to do 3, and they're probably around 30 minutes. So those are pretty interesting. He tells the stories in a great way, and they can color or something while they're doing it because the girls don't like to just sit there and listen to the story. We also use Schoolhouse Rock. Now, you don't have to buy the DVD. Oh, good. I did just so I could have it handy and I could put it in the car. But it has a lot of great stuff, little cute, catchy songs that go along with our stories. So we'll watch those, but you can watch them on YouTube a lot of times too. And then this is one of my favorites, and my oldest and I watched this show before we homeschooled, and we love this show. So I watch it with the girls now, and it goes right along with our stories in American history, and it's great. Now, it doesn't actually start to about the Revolution. Yes, I love the Schoolhouse Rocks. We use them for grammar, we use them for math, we use them for everything. But the Liberty Skids, I kind of fell in love with them about 10 years ago, and so we're watching them again. And then I don't use them as my spine and my history, but they're kind of the fun way to finish up what we're talking about so they can put the stories together and see it in a cartoon version. And here's some of the books that we've used so far. I just add books to them to make what I want. Yeah, Liberty's Kids. It's a great show, and it's really educational. And you can go on PBS and find all sorts of things to go with it. But we use the Who Was books. They're different authors, but I'm sure y'all have seen those. Who was Christopher Columbus? Who was Paul Revere? Who was Davy Crockett? And we've been using all those. Those are great. Originally I was going to have my 5th grader read them on her own, but now I'm just doing them as a read aloud because the 2nd grader gets a lot out of them too. But we also get some of the little level reading books because the 2nd grader, she likes to read to me. So I'll get her books that go along with what we're talking about, like George Washington and the General's Daw, Ben Franklin, the Magic Squares, those kind of things to go along with what we're talking about. So we have lots of reading aloud. I'm kind of a book addict, so that's one of the things we do. We're about to start on the Declaration and the Constitution, so we've got, if you were there when they signed the Constitution, we're about to start on that one. Yeah, I think most of us brave scholars are. The Declaration of Independence in translation and what it really means. And I'm excited to use this one because it does have, let me show you. It has, sorry. It has the Declaration written, and then it talks about it. What does that mean? So the kids can kind of understand that. So that's, I have that one on that one. Declaration, I think there's one on the Constitution too that I was going to pull out on that one too. We have this one we're about to start. We're writing the Constitution. So I'm feeling like we're going to have a field trip to D.C. We already did a field trip to Colonial Williamsburg when we were studying the colonists. So I'm thinking a field trip to D.C. is coming soon. Just got to convince my husband of that. My dad's on board. He's a former history teacher. So anytime we go on these trips, he goes along with us to have fun. Yeah, he's great. Or she, I'm not sure. We also, if you have girls, this wouldn't probably work so much for boys, but we have the American Girls, and my kids love the American Girls series. So we have been using, and there's one of my girls there. Hello, dear. We've been using some of the series. This is Kaya, an American Girl, and we read through the stories. And then we actually use, let me see if you can see my computer, American Girls, Girls of American History. I don't know if you can see that well enough. We've used this curriculum. I got it in the Build Your Bundle, I guess, curriculum thing that was out not too long ago, maybe in the fall of last year, maybe spring, I can't remember. So we kind of went with that, and we had a lot of great activities that went along with it. We haven't done all of them yet, but there was some basket weaving and things like that. Yeah, it's Girls of American History. She is based in Tennessee, which is near us. Well, we're in Tennessee. I'm trying to find her name. There it is. Justine Gamble at girlsofamericanhistory.com. I don't know if you can see that. www.girlsofamericanhistory.com. And she just has a lot of great ideas to go along with your books. So I bought that, and then we'll do Felicity next after we work on the American Revolution. But Kaya was before that, 1764. But some other things we use that I've pulled out is, yes, Girls of American History. Thank you. Is Heroes and Heroines of the Past American History. And this one's a great one, too. I think I got this in the Build Your Bundle, too. But she tells the stories. Let's see if I can get to some of the stories. Well, there's a list of them. And then she also puts in there, like here would be your story that you would read. And then at the end, she will have questions. And then she has some different activities you can do, like make a teepee. Several of the things that we have done, there's a make a canoe, is we've made the canoe and things. But also we like to put she has a little bit of recipes in here. So I like to do those. So I also got this one, Cooking Up Some American History. And I'm not sure where I got this. I think I got it free somewhere. And this one has lots of great recipes. I'm going to get to recipe. Yeah. Lots of safety first. Okay, yes, we know the rules. We teach the kids about the rules. Trying to get to a recipe. But she has some great recipes. So this one's like Native American foods. And there's different things that you can make. We made... Oh, I'll get back to the front of it in just a second. I'll go back. We made, in the Spanish colonial, we made salsa and we made corn tortillas. So the girls had a lot of fun making those. And we just go through it and I pull out the recipes that I think that they would like and might have fun with. Let me go back to the first so you can see that again. Cooking Up Some American History. Sunflower Education. There might be a website on here. Yeah, right there. I don't know if you can get that. www.createspace.com maybe? And there's a discount code. I don't know if that still works or not, but anyway. So it's a really interesting one if you want to do some cooking with it. And that I find interesting. And the girls like to do that because it gives us an idea of some of the different things that they might have eaten. And also it teaches a little math because we're doing a little bit of measuring. So those are some of, and then I use some lap books. And I just want to show you the names of some of the ones I use. Knowledge Box Central is one of them. And A Journey Through Learning is another one. And I've used several for this. I'm just pulling out the Daniel Boone, the French and Indian War, but I've used several different ones on this. Here's another one, American Revolution, we're working on. But what we do is a little different. Let me see if I can get my book. We started off doing the lap books. Like here's my daughter's, her lap book. And I'm sure y'all know what lap books are. We put in the file folder and everything, but I just got tired of doing the file folder. So what we do now is the binder builders, and we just take the things from the lap book and we put them on fun, colorful sheets of paper, whatever they want to do, and we just glue them in there, and now we have them in a binder so that we can just flip through and look at the different things, and we don't have to put it. Yeah, I didn't like storing the lap books, the file folders. They're kind of pain. And I couldn't figure out how to keep them. But now we're doing the whole year. And so all the whole year will have everything we studied from American history. We can just go back and pull out our American history. I think they're called binder builders. I can't remember, maybe Diane Waring used that term. I'm not really sure. I saw it on Hakoa, I think. And I hate the lap books. I hate doing the whole file folder thing. But if I can occasionally pull out some fun things that they might want to be interested in, like the British flag or something like that. And then we can put them in whatever we pick and choose. And I don't have to have that whole binder to put up with. And if I didn't like some of the lap book things, then I just won't use them. And then also you can, here's a timeline. But also when we did things like this week, we did a Patrick Henry quote. And we just pulled that out and put it in there. So it didn't have to be glued to anything. And we just start our thing. So this is kind of what we do with our lap book instead of doing that. Well, now we did have some lap books in the beginning, as you can see, but we really just got tired of doing them, to be honest. And this is a little easier for Mom. Okay. So that's pretty much everything we do in history. Like I said, I try to keep everything around field trips, so we're always going on field trips. Anytime we can find a play or something that's about this, or a musical, or just something around town. We also do a little Tennessee history. We live in Tennessee, and there is a website for Tennessee history, and they'll send you out books for like $2. And so we incorporate that too, and we go to different places in Tennessee, different parks and the Hermitage and places like that to see different things that have historical relevance. And it kind of coincides, but not always, and that's okay with me. So, like I said, this year we went to Colonial Williamsburg. We're planning on a trip to D.C. I would love to go to some more places up the East Coast. And then next year, I'm thinking maybe we'll either switch to some other topic, or if we stay with American history, we'll we'll have to do a trip out west and maybe that Yellowstone National Park, so I'm really excited about that. But anyway, that's all what we do, so I hope maybe you got some ideas. I've got so many ideas from what everybody's been telling me. I've been on Amazon all morning looking at different books. So anyway, that's all, and I'll put you back on a book. Yes, American history. So much fun. Love, 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 love history. You're welcome, Chantel. Somebody with also an accent like mine.